What's going on? We should be live. We'll find out here soon enough. Uh, got some tools here. We're just kind of going through an empty Veto. Just gonna fill it up with my everyday carry. What I carry on the job site, and yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. So last time I made a live on my computer was months ago, but I've probably made more than 100 since then on the phone. So this is gonna be the first one on the computer since a while. So we're kind of just testing out the equipment, checking out the sound, uh, and all that stuff. So let's get right to it. Let me see if I can angle this down. I should be able to. Be able to go pretty far down there and get this out of the way, maybe. Yeah, that might work. What's going on, Josh? Can you hear me all right? All right. So, yeah, we got a handful of tools here. This has got to be one of my favorite pouches. If you don't have this pouch, and you're a serious technician or just a tool enthusiast, this has got to be it because the tough build's $20, sure. These pockets are actually well thought out, and you actually see through the holes, so you can put longer or shorter tools in these pouches without any worries, which is a huge benefit. Pretty cool. Take that. So, gotta get the linesman in there, of course. Whether you're Knipex or whatever you're doing, you're rocking some kind of linesman. And I always use this pocket here for my knives, just like that. So I had a pretty interesting conversation with a guy. He was actually trying to redo a kitchen the other day, and they ran about 7 circuits to this thing, which they really only needed pretty much two as a commercial little kitchen. And they were also installing for an oven and some water heaters and stuff. And the oven was 40 amps. That was cool. But the water heater, he had number 10 on it, and he was going to put it on a 30 amp breaker. And if that was the end of the story, that would probably be a suitable install. This is a volt claw. If you don't know what the volt claw is, this thing grabs your wire, and you can really manipulate the wire and stay that much safer. It's awesome for cramming wire in the back of a box. You're still using the back of your clients to cram wire in the back of a box. You're missing out. So anyway, it's in there nicely, just like that. Uh, if that was the end of the story, that would everything would be good. But I asked him. I said, "Hey, what amperage is the water heater going to be?" And he was like, I don't know. So, we opened it up and it was a 50 amp water heater. Well, now we got a problem because you've heard me say it a million times on this channel, and we're not going to stop saying it. Electricity is like ice and water. You got 32-degree ice. Now we got 32-degree water. What happened? Well, from our perspective, really nothing, but electrically, any second something can change the state. It can decide that insulation is tired of being insulation at any point, especially after years of overloads. It's great you're making a good step-by-step video of the loadout. Now I can have a good reference. I'm not sure how I feel about this whole setup here. I like this because it is the bits. So if you're rocking a Klein pouch like this and you don't have bit storage and you don't have anywhere to put your bits because this thing lacks bit storage, there's your bit right there. That's kind of cool. But the bits that come in this they're okay. It's pretty good. I like that it acts like a control screwdriver. The other day I was opening up a panel and I was crammed up against the wall, and it felt like the screw was a mile long, man. I'm just sitting there forever, right? And then finally, I got the idea where I was just gonna palm it like this and push it up against the wall like this and just keep it flat. I just started spinning it like a mofo, man. I was just spinning as fast as I could, and I was literally going like this. Hang on. I was literally just going like this to get the screw undone and just beating the hell out of it, getting it to spin faster. So this works for that in a pinch. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool little driver. It's the uniqueness of actually being in the field versus watching some of these videos where they're just saying like, "Hey, this is cool because it does this," but there's a really practical example of why this is cool that it spins because, you know, even whenever I was young, I was always taught to my father taught me to hold a screwdriver like this and spin it. That way you got, maximum, where it can't bump out of the fastener or whatever. You've got maximum contact and all your pressure inside of the fastener head. So just apply that to here and you got a spinning. It's just good. Now this is where it gets controversial, and we'll get back to the story in a second. I don't know which one of these I like more because everybody tells me that I should like the Knipex more. And when I first kind of started this channel, we really talked some crap about the Milwaukees. But I'll tell you right now, man, the Milwaukees are pretty decent. And they grab. You can see the dexterity on there where they've got enough strength to actually grab something. So that's proof that they're good for sheetrock clamps right there, if ever there was any. Um, I busted off the tabs on mine so it's flat. And it was one of the first things I noticed when I picked these up was that the tabs are gonna be a problem. Because every once in a while you get like a death grip on them where they get stuck closed, but you're still around something while you're working. So like you might grab something and then you close them like this and you're still holding the wire or whatever. So I knocked that off, but these things shear really nicely. They're the proper shape for more leverage and they strip like a dream. So that's going there. Now about the overloads, right? So the whole time that the breaker is needing to trip because the wire doesn't just get instantly hot, poof, and then the breaker trips, right? Overload situation, you might have a couple of minutes, maybe 5 or 6 before that breaker even trips. So the whole time that wire is getting up to temperatures, damaging the insulation permanently, and then finally the breaker trips. Well, that's the good news of the breaker trips because typically what happens is you get 3 options, right? You're gonna get the breaker's gonna trip. That's the best case scenario. Always told customers, at least your breaker's tripping, you know? So 1, your breaker's gonna trip. 2, your wire or the connections are gonna get so hot that they're gonna disconnect themselves and they're no longer gonna be able to pull a load. That's your second best scenario. So when you have that scenario, you're gonna show up to a house, someone's gonna say, "Hey, this plug works, but this plug doesn't," right? Or whatever it is. Maybe the lights flicker, or during the winter months in your office, everyone's plugging in heaters even though they're not supposed to. And from time to time, some receptacles will or won't work in your office. That's what that situation is. That's an overload. You're doing damage to your installation, breakers not tripping in time, irreversible damage. And then 3, you get a fire. So I always told customers, I never really like to use the word fire because fire is kind of seen as like a chicken crap way to sell somebody something. So, and by the way, the Milwaukee Fastback is the way to go. Not with the stupid screwdriver on the back, just the good old Milwaukee Fastback with blade storage. You gotta have blade storage in your knife. So, as far as the Klein being nice, yeah, the Klein is nice. I like to stick to what I know works. I have no reason to not use this anymore. This has never failed me, and we're gonna keep using it until it does. So, yeah, wires heating up, all that stuff. that's kind of your options as far as the circuit goes. If you get like some kind of short circuit or ground fault, that's different because you're gonna have lots of amperage going back to your breaker, thousands of amps going back to your breaker to trip it instantaneously within 7 cycles. You got 60 cycles in a second. You got 60 hertz. You're trying to trip that breaker within 7 cycles. That's very quick. Um, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about overloads where the wire is getting so hot that it's tripping the breaker on the bimetals inside of it that sense heat. That's what we're talking about here. There is no magical. Oh, I'm seeing 30 amps in my 20 amp breaker. I should trip now because I've got a CT or something inside of here that your standard breakers in 90% of your houses are stupid. They don't know anything. They're just analog devices that sense heat and have little strips of metal and stuff in them. The newer breakers are a little bit different, but for the most part, there's really nothing special going on in your panel other than just analog stuff that's keeping your house from burning down. So what I've been doing lately is I've actually been putting my strippers here. And yes, the tape still goes on there, don't worry. And even with all this stuff on here, you can still get your fluke. That's one reason why I really like this fluke. If it would hold the lead in there. There we go. Trick is getting the wires in there just a little bit. It's just a little bit tight. It's not like it's crazy. But you do got to put these wires down in there first. And then you can push it down in there. And we're still in the process of training. So if you don't know what the training of a pouch means, I'll show you here in a second. Next up, I really like this tool. I was going to, yeah, exactly, Daniel. I was going to buy the Klein and show you guys why the Klein is great, blah, 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 blah. But this isn't a Klein fanboy channel. You'd think it is because Klein does make some good stuff. But this is, I think it's a Husky. It's a Husky. So it's got a lifetime warranty. So enough said. Why are you going to go to Lowe's and get the Klein when this is like no questions, no hassle at Home Depot? Done. You break the teeth on it, pick it back in, go get another one. No questions asked. This warranty has been, the golden standard for a long time at Home Depot. I've replaced boxes with cracks that I used for steps and stuff that I shouldn't have, and they they replace them. So what's good about this for your strut straps? This protrudes out here and it acts like a socket, but it's not. It's a wrench, but you get the benefit of that protrusion like a socket. So on your strut straps, this is really helpful, like really, really helpful, because your strut straps have a certain kind of shape to them where they go like this. They go like that, and your bolt pad is going to sit in here like this. And if you have a flat wrench or a spanner, because I'm from Bermuda, I say spanner sometimes. If it's flat, you're not going to get on there as good because it's just flat up against flat. But with the bump out here, you're that much further away from the flatness, and you just get a better grab. You can really go fast and tighten all the bolts and stuff. This is like next level. When you discover this as an electrician, man, this is like next level stuff because you can't always get an impact or whatever on those straps because you're gonna have a rack running. You might have a rack of pipe, and you might have like 3/4 spacing in between each one, or 1 inch spacing, or whatever spacing you're getting. You're gonna get an impact in there, even at an angle. It's just not gonna happen. So this is like essential, especially if you're trying to add to a conduit or do something, or just move them over, add another one to the rack, and you got to move the whole rack over. Whatever it is, this is a lifesaver. A normal wrench won't do it because this has the bump out. So you don't have to carry around a socket. You don't have to have individual sockets. You don't have to keep track of anything. It's all on one tool. and it just sits in there like that. Uh, let's see here. So we still got some room over here. This is going to be kind of like almost like an every carry pouch, like not for a specific task because we've kind of mixed up terminating and pipe running in the same pouch now. But this is just every tool that I would have to have with me to do anything. Beaten screwdriver with a conduit reamer would be next. I could put that there. We need to get a level in here somewhere. And I would like to get this screwdriver. And I might even exchange the level for something else depending on what I got going on. Because now I have 3 screwdrivers. So we may or may not need that. Shouldn't be doing hot work anyway. I know we got to get a level in here. I'll tell you what we are. We're going to switch it out. Because this can be used as a beating screwdriver. You're not really pounding on it for lock rings. And then these tips are just, man, it's so good to be able to switch these out so quickly. And then that's going to go there. That's what we're going to do. Then you still got some more bit storage. Then you got your little tick tracer, whatever you want to call it, your voltage proc sensor. You can go right there. And you're pretty much fully loaded out. Of course, you got your Band-Aids. But yeah, that's about it. So to finish up the story, pretty much the dude had 50 amps on a water heater. It's gonna pull that load no matter what. It's not gonna say, "Oh, I'm only on a 30 amp breaker. I'm just not gonna pull 50 amps." It's gonna pull out 50 amps the whole time. So it's really important to look at your nameplates and know what you're looking at because if you're not, you're gonna set yourself up for failure because your equipment's gonna pull more load than your wire was designed for. And you think, yeah, okay, my breaker is gonna protect my wire. And my wire is sized accordingly, where my wire is 10 amps. I'm sorry, number 10, so it's 30 amps rated, and the breaker's 30 amps rated. But if you put it on a 50 amp load, it's pulling 50 amps. Regardless what happens, it's pulling 50 amps. That's just what it's gonna do. So, yeah, figured I would load this up, give this microphone a test, see what's going on. Should just ran speaker wire from the main. Yeah. So I'm gonna go back, check out the audio, see how this works, see what the push out's like on this live versus a regular live, and see how many views it gets. I think a vertical format. This is the way because you guys want to know why the videos are no longer wide, right? Um, the minimum I get is 3,000 people per live, typically. If I'm doing tool testing, we might get 20,000. Um, if I'm talking like this, I might get 2,000, something like that, right? That's that vertical format that YouTube is making us do. That's why all the videos have been like that. They show up in the shorts feed. They push the stream out more. It's more phone friendly. They're going to give all that bandwidth to videos that are going to get more people, which is going to get them more revenue. Pretty much what's going on there. So I don't know. We might not do a format like this. If I do, it'd be members only. It might be a giveaway. It might be something else where just easier for everyone to see, more enjoyable. But yeah, we're just kind of testing things here. It's been about 4 or 5 months since I've done a wide format live like this. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys around.